Excuse me for being late. The meeting of the Finance Committee is called to order. I'd like to bid everyone good morning. Are there any public speakers?
Sir, I believe we have two public speakers that signed up. Christopher DeGrief. Greif.
I cause grief, as Andrew's going to say. Good morning. I'm Christopher D. Greif. Yes, I'm a member of the New York City Transit Riders Council, but I'm also an advocate for the borough of Brooklyn for people with developmental disabilities. But my concern is with finance. I want to thank a couple of things. One, thank you for bringing back the B37 bus back, but it would be nice to see, and part of the finance is, can we have it going back to Court Street, to more into the downtown Brooklyn for courts and other shopping areas in downtown Brooklyn. My other concern is, as I will also say, part of the finance, I hope we can try to get the B51, the B71, and for the Manhattan, the M104 bus. These buses are very, very important for people who need to go to not just to shopping, but doctor's appointments, and other places in the New York City region. It is very important because, as you know, in Brooklyn, we have a Whole Foods on 3rd Avenue and 3rd Street, which the 37 bus is getting more people on it, thank God. But also, I hope we see in the finance that more elevators being built, since we just heard that 59th Street and 86th Street are being built, thank God, but still needs to be more safety repairs to the stations, including even buses. So I hope on the finance that more things are being built for subways and buses. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Deborah Greif. I'm chair of the Brooklyn Family Sports Service Advisory Council. And I would first of all thank the count that you did bring back the B37. We do need it extended to Court Street because there's many courts that people with disabilities need to go to, doctors, appointments, as well as shopping. We are allowed to shop. I would also ask you to please extend the hours of the B82 limited bus. In the morning, I can get to the developmental center that's on Fountain Avenue, even though I have to take 3 buses. At least I can get there in 45 minutes because the B82 bus runs beautifully. But in the evening, if I don't catch a 4 o'clock bus, I'm in trouble. And you should see how packed and crowded it is at the Rockaway Park L train station. And those people really need a limited. And the 6 is packed beyond capacity, so please bring it. You'll have enough ridership for that limited bus. Also, I hope what Mr. Greif said previous, please bring the B51 bus back over the Manhattan Bridge, but not 5 days a week, 7 days a week. 2, I would like also when you build and you repair the train stations and you bring in elevators and ramps, please make sure they're truly accessible. Like, use a person who has different types of wheelchairs, walkers, and different disabilities. Instead of wasting money, you're going to save money because you'll know what's right. And one other thing that will save the MTA a lot of money, when we have to go to Stone Street for our half-fare cards, do you know that if I go to a vendor, your MTA buses that sell the cards, they could put money on my card. But there, and this is at 2 Broadway, around the corner, I have to go downstairs to Bowling Green, and if the elevator's out, how do I, or my fellow disabled friends who use wheelchairs, how do we get money on our card? It would save you a lot of money if you had at least 1 or 2 windows where they can fill the cards with money once they give us our temporary or our brand new half-fare card. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That concludes the public speakers section. We're ready for approval of the minutes. May I have a motion to approve? Second. Are there any changes or comments? All in favor? The minutes are approved. Mr. Johnson, there are 8 changes to the work plan.
Yes, sir. The agency presentation on overtime that had been rescheduled from July has been rescheduled from July to September just based upon the volume of stuff that had to take place today. But we're also pushing a BSC update and a report on the procurement consolidation. Those will also be moved to September. Next would be Budget Watch, but we don't do a Budget Watch in July. Mr. Foran will be presenting the July financial plan at the full board meeting later this afternoon. That's also a joint session of the Finance Committee with the board meeting. Next on the agenda would be Finance Watch, and Pat McCoy is here.
Thank you. Finance Watch is on your, in the committee book today, master page 22. We have 3 items to report. The first is on June 25th, we executed ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel hedge through competitive bidding, and Merrill Lynch Commodities won the bid at $2.92 per gallon. And this hedge covers the period June of 2015 through April of 2016. Next, we had one of our fuel hedge counterparties informed MTA that they were exiting the commodity business. That's Deutsche Bank AG. And so we had 2 transactions with them that we sought to novate and move to a counterparty that would be willing to do that. And we spoke to our existing counterparties, again, those that are approved, those being Goldman Sachs or J. Aron, JP Morgan Ventures Energy Corporation, and Merrill Lynch Commodities. As the process unfolded, we came to recommend and actually moved those contracts over to J. Aron at no cost to the MTA. And as you can see here, the total notional amount was 3.4 million gallons of ultra-low sulfur diesel for a total value of $9.9 million. And Deutsche Bank did pay all the costs that were associated with it, the legal costs. And so again, there was no cost to the MTA for this. Lastly, I just wanted to report the statistics on our Transportation Revenue Bonds 2014C transaction. And again, this was our first transaction in the market that after our upgrade by Standard & Poor's. And just to point out, the all-in TIC of the transaction was 3.32%. An average life of 10.7 years, again, slightly shorter than what we would normally do. And again, that spoke to the market conditions at the time that we were in the market selling the bonds. That concludes Finance Watch. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Questions or comments?
Pat,
Mr. Pally.
I noticed that the new one starts June 2015. We're under one at the moment. We're in an existing hedge.
Exactly. Our hedges are laddered in,
Right.
and then they ladder out. And so for the 12-month period from here out to this time next year, we're hedged at our goal, which is about half.
Right.
And then we start to taper down in 2015, going into 2016.
How do the prices we're paying now compare with the one we just got?
Prices for the commodity have actually been going up. We believe due to volatility in the Mideast.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure.
Anyone else? We're ready for MTA headquarters and all agency items?
Yes, sir. We have 4 action items, the first being the authorization to issue special obligation taxable refunding bonds, Series 2014. Pat's here to take any questions.
Okay. This staff summary and resolution appear on page 32 of your committee materials today. What we're seeking is authority to approve a special obligation bond resolution for the sole purpose of exercising retained call rights on bonds that have been escrowed to maturity, and this dates back to 2002 when we did the debt restructuring. Those escrows for transit facilities and commuter facilities bonds were funded through cash at that time. And due to change in market conditions between then and now, there's significant value in those retained call rights on those escrowed bonds. And in order to achieve and go after that value in on those bonds, we are proposing to issue a taxable bond to fully defease those bonds with the call rights. Following that, there will be a release of approximately $32 million that will be available to the MTA. This transaction is a very attractive transaction for the MTA, and it's recommended. Happy to take any questions
Before that, a motion and a second? Questions or comments? Mr. Bellin?
Just a quick comment. I want to thank Pat, Bob, and the whole staff for this transaction. This is a great example of how, you guys have successfully set up a system that would reward good ideas. Good ideas were brought to us, apparently, and they were perfected and worked on over a long period of time. And I might point out, no compensation to the people the bankers who are working on them. And they're able to produce, through their initiative and hard work, over $30 million to our bottom line at no cost to us, in the process, at risk only to them. And I think it's a great example of what works well with what you guys are doing, and thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Motion is approved. Ready for report on outside counsel to approve panel?
Yeah, so we are requesting board approval to add 15 law firms, which you see attached to the list of MTA-approved outside counsel in connection with civil rights and employment matters. It is anticipated that the legal services provided by these firms will assist MTA in-house counsel and a lawyer working for the Department of Diversity and Civil Rights who represent MTA agencies.
I need a motion and a second first. Second? Questions and comments? Mr. Ballin and Mr. Capelli.
This is just for the areas of civil rights and, wait, who? I just want to make sure I understand which, hi.
Yeah, this is under the discretionary procurement law, which allows you to limit your procurements to small business concerns and MWBs. We went out, and this is focused on civil rights and employment, but the way outside council panel works, we also have the right to use firms that are on any particular subject area panel for anything else other than the courts and appeals. This would follow that same pattern.
Okay, do they all have bona fide New York offices with full-time staff and attorneys in them? Okay, I would just urge that this not be used as a backdoor to get firms in through other areas, and that this be primarily used for the stated purpose, which is for the civil rights and that other category, and not any others, because without a full process.
Let me add a comment, Mr. Ballin. This was a result of an effort by Department of Diversity and the Diversity Committee to reshuffle the deck a little bit on this. And I'm very happy with the outcome. Let's see how it goes in terms of fees paid. Mr. Capelli.
I have no quarrel with the proposal. I have no quarrel with the proposal before us. It does offer an opportunity for me to raise a point that we have discussed in the past, which is related to two issues. The examination of duplicity that exists throughout the many companies that we oversee, and the need to shrink and get smaller. One of the areas that we looked at when there was a working group and we had discussions on areas of consolidation was the legal departments. I'm not sure why we need to have a legal department for transit, a legal department for MTA bus, and so forth, that that have their own panels, that oversee outside counsel in either first-party or third-party actions. And I would urge finance to get back, or whatever the mechanism is, to get back on the stick of looking at areas of duplication that exist, because as the presentation of the briefing that we got the other day, we still need to find savings that exist. And I believe that this is an area that is fertile for consolidation. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If there are none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the capital plan amendment and procurements for headquarters.
We have two presentations that Craig Stewart and Steve Barang are going to make right now. And Stephanie Delisle.
Thank you. There are two staff summaries in your book that require board action. The first one is to amend the capital program, and so is the second one, actually. The first one deals with New York City Transit and the commuter rails. They require CPRB approval, and the second one is for bridges and tunnels, which does not require CPRB approval. The reason for the program revisions are, one, to address 10% element issues. These are sub-asset categories that have exceeded the 10% approved by the CPRB. The next is updating the Sandy repairs. These are estimates that were provided early on as conceptual estimates. We are now well into the design and construction phases, and this is realigning those project budgets. The third is the alignment of Sandy mitigation program that aligns our estimates with our Tier 3 competitive resiliency application that's been submitted. And the last is a funding adjustment having to do with the RIF program. Stephanie Delisle will go through that, and Steve will go through details of the 10% element and the Sandy program repairs. Overall, there are no changes to the capital program budget. It remains at $34.8 billion. Steve?
Thank you, Craig. As Craig said, one of the main components here is addressing 10% issues. In the core program, we have three elements that have 10% issues in New York City Transit. One is for ADA accessibility. You heard earlier this morning about two new projects on the Sea Beach line. This recognizes that. We are also adding in Cortlandt Street Station at World Trade Center. This was a project that we were always, it was always going to be done. It previously was going to be done by the Port Authority, paid for by us. Now it's going to be done by us and paid for by us. And the third element that has 10% issues is service vehicles, represents the purchase of vacuum trains, a revised EAC for vacuum trains. There is a fourth element in transit communications, which is very near a 10% problem, and we're reflecting the increased costs from help points and communication network costs to give us flexibility going forward. In the Sandy repair program, the changes that we are reflecting there reflects better assessment of damage and better EACs that have come as the design has progressed. We are addressing 10% issues in New York City Transit, Long Island Railroad, and bridges and tunnels only. No changes to Metro North in this. And the total envelope for each agency and for the Sandy repair program remains at $4.755 billion. In the Sandy mitigation program, what we are doing, as Craig mentioned, is aligning our estimates with the FTA Tier 3 competitive grant program, which we submitted in March, the responses to which we expect sometime this fall. It affects New York City Transit, Staten Island Railway, Long Island Bus, and Metro North only. No changes to Metro North. There is a change between agencies that reflects $269 million transferred to Long Island Railroad to address their river-to-river resiliency needs, and addresses some 10% issues in the agencies listed there. The total resiliency envelope remains at $5.77 billion.
The 10 to 14 capital programs funding plan currently includes a standalone line item for the FRA RIF loan. In the proposed amendment, that RIF loan amount is reduced by $2.2 billion and transferred with a corresponding increase to MTA bonds. This change allows MTA to issue bonds in the capital market in that amount or pledge bonds as security for the RIF loan as currently proposed in our RIF application. But this action does not change MTA's RIF loan request for Eastside access and positive train control. Our application is still before the FRA.
Procurements. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I have two questions about this. One is on the Cortlandt Street station. My impression, wrong apparently, is that the federal money for the disaster was going to pay for it. You had said actually Port Authority money originally was going to pay for Cortlandt Street. I'm just wondering, what's the
It was
bigger
gonna,
picture of this trade-off?
it was going to be delivered by the Port Authority, paid for by the MTA.
Okay.
It's now going to be delivered by the MTA and paid for by the MTA.
But it's as a result of the terrorist attacks.
Correct.
So, but this MTA funding, is it MTA funding or is it money we're getting from the federal government to pay for this?
It's MTA bond funds that are paying for this.
Why weren't we part of whatever the money paid for the? Why are we paying for this ourselves when it's part of the attack?
I can't answer that question.
We didn't receive any funding for
We didn't?
Cortland.
Okay.
I guess the question that Ira is asking is, did we apply for any money for Cortland? That would be helpful.
We can look into it. I don't know.
Well,
think that's
what's
the
the
question-
history? Yeah,
that's the
really, the
question
question is,
you're
what's the
asking.
history
History.
here? Why is this a result of the terrorist attacks?
We'll
How come we're
get you
paying
that.
for it ourselves?
I thought I had heard shortly after 9/11 that the station would be rebuilt when One World Trade Center was built, and the connection would be made then. And the inference was always it would be federal funding. Or Port Authority funding, a mix of those two.
Yeah, I don't have the history on it, but I'll get it.
That would be
Thanks.
helpful.
The other-
Thank you.
The other question is on the RIF loan. What's the time frame for that? We've been waiting a long time. Why does FRA take so long with this?
On the RIP loan, there were some basic business points in terms of requests that FRA was making of us that we really just weren't comfortable with. We've had significant back and forth negotiations. I believe we're close to resolving them in a manner that makes us comfortable. So we've had exchanges of documents, and I think we're really at a stage where I think we can bring this to close.
Thank you.
If my recollection was correct, Bob, the RIF loan was an integral part of the capital plan funding.
It was, but we never took the economics, the advantageous economics of the RIF loan versus just doing our own transportation revenue bonds into account,
Okay.
which was a good thing because, since it's been delayed, we've been selling transportation revenue bonds. When we receive the RIF loan, if everything falls in place, we'll be able to capture those advantageous economics, and so then it will be reflected in our financial plan.
Okay. So we have not done that yet?
No.
Okay.
Mr.
Thank you.
Capelli?
Yes, not to these specific items, but I would like a report on the current status of the North Shore BRT, which a year ago, each of the mayoral candidates were tripping over each other to announce that this was going to become a reality beginning this year. In terms of the funding and the beginning of the project, and now I hear through the grapevine that there's apparently a problem and that I have not received any official notification as to the nature of that problem. And this is an important piece that we've discussed for many years in the capital program, and many decisions have been made with the assumption that it was going to take place, and if it's not, then we need to augment local bus services.
Stuart, I presume we'll be able to get an answer to you?
Yes, we'll be updating the board in August with briefings on the capital program, 15 to 19. Originally, there was some thought that we would put North Shore BRT in our Sandy application, but the criteria didn't fit it, so we did not include it. We will, though, update you in August with the briefings.
Thank you. Headquarters procurements.
We have to vote on?
Let's do them as a package.
So we have 6 competitive, including one that wasn't included in your book that was distributed separately, and for a total of $33,150,000, and also one ratification for a grand total of $71,310,000.
Are we going to do this seriatim or just as a package?
We could just do that as a package.
Okay.
Yeah, the total headquarter.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay, I need a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? They pass. The entire package passes.
Right, for headquarters. And next we have Metro North. There are two competitive procurements for Metro North for a grand total of $13,710,000, one of which is competitive sole source procurement jointly with Long Island Railroad, and one is a procurement for a modification to extend an existing contract.
Second. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Passes. Long Island Railroad.
Yes, we have two procurements for a grand total of $9,051,821. One non-competitive multi-agency procurement with New York City Transit and Metro North for sole source maintenance support services, and one competitive procurement managed by MTA Capital Construction for a modification to extend an existing contract.
Is there a motion and second? Is there any question or comment? Hearing none. All in favor? These two items pass.
For New York City Transit MTA bus operations, we have one action item for New York City Transit requesting MTA Board approval to modify the NYCT portion of the 2010 to 2014 capital program to add two new projects. One is to provide ADA accessibility at the station complex comprising of the new Utrecht Avenue station on the Sea Beach line and 62nd Street station on the West End line. The second to provide ADA accessibility at the 8th Avenue station on the Sea Beach line. That's the action item.
Second. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? These items pass.
There are two procurements for New York City Transit for a grand total of $107,853,000. One non-competitive for software services, one competitive for a modification to add funding and extend the term of an existing contract.
I have a motion to approve. Let me just get the motion in a second first. Second? Mr. Ballard.
Just want to make sure I'm on the right one. Which,
Please put on your mic, John.
sorry, what are we being asked to, what pages are you referring to? Because there's
Pages
a,
112 and
the
113.
book is a little, there's a couple pages missing from a lot of the book, so what,
It's section 8, pages 112 and 113.
thank you. Just
The
those two.
Sprague being the
Right.
largest contract.
Right,
Okay,
thank you.
sure.
Anyone else? All in favor? Motion's approved.
Next, we have B&T. There's one competitive procurement for an RFP for maintenance and repair services to hardware and software components throughout all of B&T facilities for a grand total of $49,718,000.
I have a motion and a second.
Mr. Chairman, at B&T, we moved to table this item. There were some questions that the committee had, and we asked the committee to report back to us in the future, either with more information or with an alternative proposal.
So are you,
Moving to table.
is there a second? All in favor?
Tabled.
Motion's tabled.
Okay, there are no items for FIMTAC.
John, have another question?
Is there another question?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No.
Go ahead.
Next would be real estate. There are three real estate items that Jeff will take us through.
Okay, thanks, Doug. We do have three items. The first is a license for new snack and beverage vending machines at least 80 and potentially as many as 120 Long Island Railroad stations. The high bid was received from the firm, excuse me, that's been successfully implementing a similar program for Metro North. We have a 6-month lease extension for MTACC's 7-line field office necessitated by the move in the completion date there, and a minor modification to Metro North's plaza maintenance agreement with the city of Yonkers. Each is the subject of a description in the staff summary. If you have any questions or comments, I'd be glad to take them.
I first need a motion and a second. Second?
Second.
Questions and comments? Mr. Ballard.
Thank you. I have a question, Jeff, on the Yonkers one.
Okay.
I think what they've done down by our train station, which was truly the catalyst for their downtown waterfront redevelopment, followed quickly by their library, which is beautiful, and other great buildings down there. It's terrific what they're doing, and I'm happy to vote for it. But I do have a question. How will the public always knows when we do things wrong or poorly or badly. How will the public know that this wonderful new service that's going to be provided is in part through the cooperation at no cost from the MTA, since we're giving them a valuable real estate use for free?
Yeah, well, it is as you know, I think a modification of an existing arrangement. The maintenance there is already done by the city. This is, in effect, authorization to do programming of the space to allow additional uses and to expand it slightly. I think the point's well taken. Dave, do we have any kind of, literature or anything that describes who the sponsor is?
No, we don't, but I think we could certainly talk to the city about what kind of joint sort of publicity we might want to do to highlight our involvement.
I can assure you that
sure
there'll
they'd
be
like to
some
take
type
credit.
of banner having the mayor's name and the city council, just a guess.
Yeah.
And perhaps since we're providing real estate at no cost to help the citizens enjoy their city better, perhaps we could be included and say, if you,
Fair enough.
I see nothing wrong with it. We certainly get blasted for things that are not in our control.
That's right.
We might as well get some credit for doing something good that is within our control.
Any further questions or comments? Mr. Patman?
Jeff, how do we relate the issue of the vending machine locations on the Long Island Railroad stations with those stations that have now already existing food establishments there?
These are very, limited snack dispensing and beverage dispensing machines. I believe they're intended for substantially all. We have 80 to begin with.
Right.
Dave, you want to speak to the locations?
Yeah, they're going to be located at all the stations where we do have existing newsstands. It sort of serves a different market than the newsstands, which are primarily focused on commuters in the AM who grab a cup of coffee or something like that. A lot of the vending machine sort of business happens in off hours when people are hanging around the platform waiting for a train. They need a drink, they need a snack. So we have not really had extensive issues with vendors complaining about the vending machines, with newsstands complaining about the vending machines. We're gonna put them everywhere.
Because that was the concern I had. There is no doubt that at the times the food establishments are not open, having the vending machines is beneficial. Of that there is no doubt, and there are a variety of stations in which that would be very helpful. The question that I had was, what is the relationship between our existing contracts with those facilities now and the ability to bring in, to some degree, a competitor, to some degree, in those situations where there is competition?
Yeah, we reserve the right in all our newsstand coffee agreements to bring in similar uses. So legally, we clearly have the right to do it. We experienced one or two cases at Metro North where we had to do a workaround, which may involve a newsstand vendor actually having the contract with the vending company so that they control the machines. Revenue still comes to us. If we have to do that in one or two locations, we'll do that. But otherwise, I think we should be pretty okay with this.
All right, as I said, my only concern was in those, and it may be limited, 1 and 2 in Metro North, and you never know what'll happen on Long Island, but in those situations where there is a conflict, quote unquote, we should exercise discretion. That's all I ask.
Also a good point. Thank you.
Is there anything further? If there is none, are we ready for a vote? All in favor? Opposed? These items pass. Is there anything further with respect to the entire agenda? If not, may I have a motion to adjourn? Second. All in favor? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
That